We good? We can move to the next topic.
Let's get it.
All right, man. How do I? For real. Let's move on to the next topic, man. Sacramento Kings traded De'Aaron Fox. Finally, it's been in the works, and now you got the alien with Swiper. That's a proper sound, right? Now, there's some mixed feelings with me, but I'm gonna give y'all the trade details. All right. Now, here are the trade details. So it's a three-team trade with the San Antonio Spurs, Sacramento Kings, and the Chicago Bulls. So the Spurs they receive Swiper, no swiping, De'Aaron Fox, Jordan McLaughlin, who I felt like he was all right. All right. The Kings get the boatload and everything. They get Zach Levine, City Sissoko. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. Right. A 2025 first round pick via Hornets, 2027 pick first round Spurs, 2031 first round pick Timberwolves, 2025 second round pick Bulls, 2028 second round pick Nuggets, 2028 second round pick Bulls. I do think that 2027 pick for the Spurs is going to turn to a second. I think it's going to turn to a second. All right. And the Bulls, they received Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Herter. Kevin Herter's gone too. And their own 2025 first round pick. They got it back from the Spurs. All right. So, Trent, you the Kings guy.
Yes, sir.
Tell us your reaction.
Take your time, Trent. Take your time.
Yeah, you're good, man. You're good. I mean, there's really big. There's two emotions or two things to be said. Number one is you have to give De'Aaron Fox his flowers as a Sacramento Kings fan. I basically grew up with him, for a lack of better terms. He was, the face of the franchise after DeMarcus Cousins, and it's sad to see him go. It really is. I mean, he was the staple in the community, Sacramento. I don't live there, but everything I read and follow, he was a man of the people. Sacramento, not really an area with other major sports teams, so that fan base is loyal and loves their Kings. So De'Aaron Fox, I wish him the best. One of my favorite players. I'm going to be rooting for him. With the trade to the Spurs, I basically was talking about all year how the Spurs needed a point guard, and I really wanted it to be Trae Young. I never thought it would be De'Aaron Fox, but here we are. And I think, for the Spurs, the Spurs did great. I mean, as far as keeping your principal play, I mean, they didn't have to get rid of Vassell. They didn't have to get rid of was it Sochan? I don't know how to pronounce his name. Yeah. And then Stephon Castle, who's also, a great young prospect. So they got to really keep their young core, and then keep, Chris Paul, who is going to continue to develop guys. But the thing about Chris Paul is he can only make Wemby so great. I mean, he can teach him. He can take him under his wing. He can be a mentor, and he can bring out everything great in him mentally. But now that De'Aaron Fox is there, Wemby has someone to just make him even better athletically. And I don't think Fox, I know Fox hasn't had anyone like that to ever really play above the rim. I mean, shout out Malik Monk. He can jump, Metu back in the day. But this is the real first above the rim vertical threat that De'Aaron Fox is going to be able to play with. And back to Wemby, it's going to be the first, point guard he plays with that's going to actually be able to facilitate the ball and score and help him out and just make him better overall, because that's what Fox does. So that's the sad part. You hate to see him go, but I'm going to root for him as long as the Spurs and the Kings aren't a playoff matchup anytime soon. But then again, the second part of it is it's the reality of it. And the Kings are, I believe, sitting at 24-24. There's 35 games left outside of the playoff race. And, we did just acquire Zach LaVine. So that is it's going to be interesting to see them play together and operate together. It seems like, Joe and I had an off-season trade target episode, and Zach LaVine was a name that still lingered in the offseason. The contract is obviously not the friendliest, but I think pairing him up with DeRozan, you get the Bulls front court. We're kind of the Bulls West of the past. Match him up with Sabonis and Malik Monk, and then probably either Keegan Murray or we'll see. But the overall point here is I don't think the Kings are done, and nor do I think they should be done until Thursday. I think this is a puzzle piece move. Joe talked about that 2025 pick coming from Charlotte. That's most likely going to turn into 2 second-round picks because it's top 14 protected. So we've seen Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox play around with second-round draft picks. I'd really like to see an addition. Joe and I have been talking about Valanciunas for, I feel like, 10 years now. Cam Johnson. Something like that, just to really round out the 5. Because right now, I think while the starting 5 is solid, you're still relying on not much depth. They sent Herder to Chicago, and they sent McLaughlin to San Antonio. So now we have guards that are really not ball handlers. I mean, we have Keon Ellis, Devin Carter, Malik Monk, and now LaVine. So LaVine is going to probably bring the ball up a lot. Monk's probably going to get a lot of reps at point guard. We're going to go back to Sabonis running the offense through his left hand. DeRozan's probably going to bring the ball up. So what I'm saying is it's going to be interesting to see how it works with no really true one on the floor. De'Aaron Fox has obviously assumed that role the last 8 seasons in Sacramento. So that will be probably the biggest thing is seeing how this offense looks without De'Aaron Fox. He'll be greatly missed, but I don't think the Zach LaVine trade is necessarily horrible. I don't think the Kings are going to lose the next 35 games. There's going to be, teams that probably don't even finish the season with 24 wins, which is what the Kings are at now. So as it stands right now, I don't necessarily hate it or love it. I think I'm going to be a lot more discouraged if this is it and there's no moves made before Thursday. But with Fox, kind of flirting with the idea that he's, didn't necessarily want out, but, he'd be interested in going in San Antonio. I feel like the writing was on the wall, and it hurts as a Kings fan because it's all you've ever known. But at the end of the day, the NBA is a business.
Mm-hmm. So with me, I have mixed feelings with this. I'm kind of with Trent. Fox is my guy.
You got that box in.
Now I got to throw in the trash. I hope Amazon can say I can send it back. I hope it ain't too late. I gotta send it back now. Like, Fox my guy. I defend Fox all the time. I was just defending him a week ago for the All-Star snow. That's my cry lava. Yeah, no, I'm not cat. but I have mixed feelings about this because De'Aaron Fox was checked out. He was checked out, man. And I watched RBO earlier. Shout out to my brother Javon. RBO Rebuttalers Only. He talked about this trade, and he said that Fox, he just didn't. It looked like they didn't want to run an offense through him, and I see that. But the last 2 years, something strange I've been seeing from Fox. He starts off on a heater, hot, MVP candidate, and then around December, he starts to fall off a little bit. It starts to coast into the All-Star break, and then he will average 28 points per game starting the season. But by the time All-Star come around, he's down to 25. You're like, what happened? And the one game that I remember last year was we played Orlando Magic. I always talk about this game. We played Orlando Magic, and Paulo had a 30-point triple-double, I think. We ended up winning because Malik Monk was jellying all night. Just literally. Every layup was a jelly layup. And Fox was out there as a decoy. I thought Fox was hurt. He wasn't talking to the media for a stretch. And I'm like, what's going on with Fox? And I'm sensing the same Fox around this time right now this year. So I think the organization saw that Fox was checked out, like mentally. I listened to Jason Hamm earlier. He talked about that, how Fox last game, he had to wait for him for a long time to talk to him because he was like he wanted like saying his goodbyes, but you can tell like he knew this was his last game. Like he was taking a long time. He talked to everybody. It was extensive conversations, and Fox is already out. So what I like about this trade though is we do have a bunch of assets. We bring in Levine, and De'Aaron Fox is our best player. Do I want us to trade? I wish we would have kept him. But what we got for him, am I really mad? No, because with Fox, we get 24 and 24. With Fox, the 24 and 24. With Fox, we went from the third seed to the ninth seed last year and did not make the playoffs. Lost to the Pelicans 6 times with Fox. So, am I too mad? No, because it's not like Luca, right? It's Fox. Fox is great, but he's not Luca. He's not like a generational. If we got him, we get into the playoffs guaranteed. I can't say that about Fox. So, how we replace Fox? We put in somebody who fits better with DeRozan, to be honest with you. Because DeRozan is more of a mid-range shooter. Levine can stretch the floor out. He has no issue shooting that three. And Malik Monk, people underestimate his passing ability. Malik Monk it's a bonus, obviously, but Malik Monk is a better passer than De'Aaron Fox. Like Malik Monk's chemistry with Sabonis was much better than Fox with Sabonis. Like when Malik Monk's in the game, you're gonna get your buckets as long as you do your part, right? And Malik Monk is a better shooter, so the floor is more stretched out for a guy like DeRozan. Sabonis is shooting a high percentage from the 3-point line. He don't shoot a lot, but he's shooting a high percentage from the 3-point line. Guys still don't respect it. So the floor, I'm not gonna say he shut the floor out. Guys don't respect Sabonis 3-point shot. They still leave him out there. But I think Levine would be a good fit. I think that with Levine, I think with Fox, we were not going to win a championship this year. It's not like we win a championship. You know what I mean? Right? So bringing in Levine is like a rental to stay relevant while we try to see what we can do with these picks we got. Are we going to trade to get a guy? Or are we going to draft the guy? Like basically, it stalls us more time. We're not going to be like we can still make the playoffs basically and be competitive. So I kind of like what the Kings did because they knew the right and the wrong. They knew that Fox was going to resign. I think it was clear as day. And I don't blame Fox. I got to be real, man. Like being a king, you get disrespected. There's no way we should have no All-Stars. Like we're the only team in the NBA that got 3 20-point scores. Only team in the NBA that got that. No All-Stars. Fox, we were the first they say Fox got better numbers than most point guards in the West. He don't make the All-Star game. Oh, because of your record. But when he was a third seed, he didn't make the All-Star team. He had to come in as like a sub. Like I forgot somebody dropped off because of injury, and then he came in. And he was third team All NBA as a third seed. Number one cosplayer in the NBA. So as a King fan, you're going to get disrespected. You don't get the notoriety that you would get if you were a Laker or a Knick or not just them two, any other team for real. You got to be doing what SGA is doing, like for real. So I don't blame him. Going with the Spurs, playing with Wemby, he's going to. If Fox would have played like he played with us with the Spurs, he would be an All NBA player. He would. They would vote him in because guys would see him all the time on national television, right? And he'll give him a lot more respect. But now he's a king. He was a king. He wasn't getting respect. So I'm not mad at Fox for getting traded. Now I do want to speak about quickly the Spurs and the Bulls. All right. So the Spurs, I think that's perfect. I think Fox and Wemby, like Fox, he needs a sport. He needs a floor to be like, get out my way. He needs a floor to be spread out. And the Spurs will do that. The Spurs have shooters. Wemby's a shooter also. A lot of attention is also going to Wemby. So Fox is going to eat. He's going to eat. And so is Wemby. I think it's a great pickup. And the Bulls, I think when it comes to the Bulls, that they made the decision that we're gonna be trash and we're gonna get a low pick. That's what decision they made, and because they've been playing in the middle, the Bulls remind me of the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just play right in the middle. They are not good enough to win nothing. Sorry, no shot to Javon. They don't win no playoff game, but at the same time, they're not bad enough to get a good pick. So they're just stuck in the middle every single year. That's where the Bulls been. They're a playing team every year. So I think all teams benefited kind of from this trade based on the circumstances.
For me, I'll say that this is also this is a trade I saw coming. I just didn't see that the Kings getting this much back. But overall, this was a win-win for the Spurs and the Kings for me. I think the Spurs won this because they got Fox and Wemby. They got their two talents together for the future that helps them out. And not only that, Fox is going over there to be with CP3. CP3 is going to teach her. CP3 is going to help him be able to run the offense a lot better, find his spots a lot better. Not that Fox can't find his spots, but CP3 is a good point guard to learn from. Someone who's been considered the point guard, a bunch of times. Him being able to average double doubles. He's won big playoff games before. He's been in those situations, so that's something that he can learn from. And then, like you said, he's with the alien. He's with Wemby. Wemby is the next best thing. It's and then you got one of the greatest NBA head coaches of all time still coaching right now. You still got great power visual over there to help you out. So it's a win-win situation for them. For the Kings, though, I know you mentioned the first round picks, but the Kings are in a really good position because they have enough talent to still be able to compete, to at least be a play-in tournament team, to potentially make the playoffs. And you got a lottery pick from the Charlotte Hornets. It's a 2025 pick from the Charlotte Hornets. So you can get a high draft pick as well. You got Zach LaVine. And it's
The,
see
the,
this is
the Hornets pick is top 14 protected.
top
So
14.
it's not a lottery, yeah. So if
Okay,
it is a
well,
lottery, we don't. It goes to 2 seconds.
well,
I know. Dang, you just made it worse now.
I'm sorry. Well, look, you still, but the thing is, you still got two first round picks. You still got your first round pick, and you got
Mhm.
Charlotte's first round pick. So you got two first round picks to go along with this season.
Come on,
You
LaMelo.
got
Win some games.
The Charlotte pick will turn into 2 seconds.
LaMelo, we need LaMelo to win some games, man. Come on, Melo.
We need Charlotte to win.
and you got a first round pick in 2027 from the Spurs and 2031 from Minnesota. I don't think that was going to help you out that much because Minnesota they're going to be competing every single season. Then you got 3 seconds. The loser in this to me is the Bulls. The Bulls, Joe, I know you said that they said they're going to be trash, but all they got was their own pick back. They didn't get much
Yeah.
else. All they got was their own pick back that they gave to San Antonio. They didn't get nothing back. They got Kevin Herter, who's a shooter, of course, but this season hasn't been that good for Kevin Herter, honestly, as a shooter. You got Trey Jones, who's a pretty good enough point guard as well, and Zach Collins, who was drafted by Portland. I mean, it ain't much for them. And then they still got they still got Kobe White, they still got Lonzo Ball. They don't really have much over there in Chicago. And honestly, I don't know if this even helps them just get a top lottery pick because I don't know where they're going to be at. I don't know how this is going to help them out. And like you said, they only got that. All they did was get their first round pick back. They don't have much else to go with whatever everything they gave away. Now I know they gave away the guy that they've been trying to trade away for the last 2 seasons. They got Zach LaVine finally out of Chicago, but Zach LaVine has been having a really good season this year. So you give him the Sacramento, and that honestly replaces what Fox was giving to Sacramento anyway, because Fox was a scorer, and now you give him another scorer. And me personally, I think Zach LaVine is a more dynamic scorer than De'Aaron Fox is because he can spread the floor, so he can only shoot. And we know when Zach LaVine gets hot, he can easily go for 50, 60 points. Now I know Fox has the most points that scored in the game this season so far with 60. He had a 60-point game. But we know Zach LaVine can definitely do that as well. And then we know you're going to get some highlights from Zach LaVine. He's going to dunk on somebody. You're going to see that. So you're going to get some highlights. And honestly, I think the Kings are in good position because you still have a clutch player in your team with DeMar DeRozan. So that's still going to help you out a lot. Him and Zach LaVine have already played together. So that helps them out even more. They know exactly how to play together. And like you said, you still got Malik Monk, who's now going to start. He's going to start at the point guard position and he's going to be playing alongside with DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Sabonis majority of the time. He was already getting started minutes. Now you're expecting to see him on the floor every single time. It's a huge win-win for the Spurs and for the Kings because I think the Kings are going to be set up for the future and for now. And the same thing for the Spurs. I think the Spurs are going to be set up for now and the future because now you get Fox the opportunity to help Wemby also grow, who's a young player, just his second year in the league. And now you got Fox, who hasn't been able to get that shine because he was in Sacramento. Now he's in San Antonio with Greg Popovich. He's going to be seen a lot more. And people are going to want to see how his game develops because of where he is and how it helps Wemby develop. And now he's with Chris Paul because I honestly thought when the trade got done, that maybe Chris Paul was going to be out. But you keeping Chris Paul now, I think it helps out both teams. But I think if we're talking about a loser in the situation, it's Chicago.
All right, J-Mo.
Yeah, Chicago probably is in last place right now. But I think they cleaning house. Keep a lookout for Kobe White, Vucevic, and I even heard Lonzo Ball. If he don't get traded, he might get bought out, and maybe he can go help somebody. So because he been playing good the times he do get in the game. So I honestly don't think there is a loser in the trade. But if you had to choose first, second, and third, Bulls will probably be in third place, simply because most of their assets has come from draft capital, and we don't know what it looks like because they haven't been drafted yet. But the Spurs. I mean, did they even give up anything?
No.
It seemed like they just dropped Fox on the team. Like you said they kept Stephon Castle, Vassell, and you didn't mention Keldon Johnson. They kept Keldon Johnson. Like that's they didn't give up nothing. They gave up Zach Collins, who I forgot was even on the team. Only time I know he on the team is when Wemby don't play, and I don't see him on FanDuel. I just see Zach Collins. But that's just crazy. And then not only did he need a point guard, but he needed another threat. He needed somebody else who's gonna get double teamed. You know what I mean? So he can flourish even more. I like they 100% won the trade. The Spurs. I swear I was like, what? They gave up Trey Jones and Zach Collins. I'm like, bro, they still got they didn't give up none of their core players. Like normally when an All-NBA player like Fox get traded, something gotta go. They gave up nothing. They still got their whole team. Like that's crazy. And I think it's funny about the Kings, right? Because years ago they kept talking about trading for Zach LaVine. But I remember Joe saying he didn't want to give up Malik Monk for Zach LaVine, especially with the contract he had. And now they got Monk and Zach LaVine. They ended up giving up Fox for him. Like I just think it's all crazy. Like, they should have just got him in the first place. But last time LaVine and DeRozan played together, their point guard got hurt. Lonzo Ball got hurt. So they had to run the point guard. Now they got Sabonis, who is virtually the offense initiator. But Malik Monk, who probably the second best, even with Fox there, second best passer on the team. Like, Monk's role is to score. But if you tell him to, like, you got to be more of a facilitator, Monk get you 8 assists at the drop of a hat. Monk is really an all-around offensive player. And that's why I think he plays better with Sabonis than Fox, because he's better off ball. He shoots better. Anybody that shoots better is going to be better than, you know what I mean, the other person off ball. But like I said before the show, man, I didn't know Fox was shooting 82% from the free throw line. Like that's because that's the one thing I've been trying to get. Not trying to get, but that's the one thing I've been preaching about Fox. Like, he could take his game to the next level. He's too good, and he's too good of a mid-range shooter to be shooting, under 75% from the free throw line. But, man, the Kings, I don't think it's that bad, especially if De'Aaron Fox was checked out and they had to, face the writing on the wall. They knew it was inevitable. He had to be traded. They got LaVine back. I think they pretty much going to still be in the same spot. I don't think it's going to be a drop-off. I don't think they're going to do much better. I think they're going to pretty much be in the same spot, at least for right now. You know what I mean? And, we'll see. Jordan McLaughlin, he's, not great, but he's an efficient player. He doesn't turn the ball over that much. He probably top of the, always top of the league in turnover assist ratio. But, yeah, man, Spurs won this trade by a mile. And I can't wait to see Fox with Wemby, man. It's going to be. What is it? The fox and the giraffe? What they gonna call it?
The alien.
It's an alien.
Oh, my bad. I was trying to keep it in the zoo. My bad.
So I know we gotta move on. I know what time. The reason why I said that the Bulls were good because they've been trying to get rid of Zach LaVine's contract. They got rid of it. Trey Jones will be a free agent next year. Also, that's a contract off the books. And Kevin Hurley got one more year after that. So they clean the house, like J-Mo said, and they got their own picks, which they won't be sorry. So, which is good for them. All right.